Hello there, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, the internet, and the like, and welcome back to Team Fortress 2. Today, I'm going to be playing as the soldier, and I'm going to be doing some base gardening, because as you know, since the base jumper was added to the game, it has completely abused the Market Gardener's crit while explosive jumping gimmick, so it seems like a fairly bright idea to actually use it. And chances are you'll be a lot more successful than you would without it, unless you've had a lot of prior experience just market gardening in general. Unfortunately, I'm not among one of those people. I didn't exactly have much market gardening experience before this parachute came out, because at the time, I guess I just didn't really care. I did sort to get adjusted to the idea, and getting some of the jumps down pat is one of the most important things when you're going to be market gardening. But one of the other essential things is using the base jumper because it allows you to do so many nifty things. Since this thing was added, I've seen a lot of soldiers using the loadout I'm using in this video, and unfortunately, a majority of them make the mistake of using the parachute to stay in mid-air for as long as possible, and that essentially makes them giant targets for just about anybody. Admittedly, I used to have the same habit, because when the parachute first came out, everybody just wanted a chance to see how this thing worked. It was certainly a lot of fun just to see a lot of people on the Love and War update just floating around with the base jumper. You don't really see too many people using the parachute now because it unfortunately suffers from new weapon syndrome, where essentially new weapons are practically ignored for their own uses, and this has happened a lot in a lot of the past TF2 updates. Only a few weapons are an exception to this. For example, there would be the Tide Turner, which I guess you've sort of seen more often now. The Backscatter, not so much, and who even uses the airstrike nowadays? I know I certainly won't, because I just don't think it's very practical anymore. But the point being, I used to have this habit where I would just use the base jumper 24/7. And right here, smacking that engineer right in the side of the head while he's wrangling his sentry, and despite him, I'm going to take out his dispenser as well without taking any sentry damage as I rocket jump away. One thing I did learn about this base jumper is doing this. Making a rollout with the base jumper can become far easier because you have a split second of time to make sure you don't hit the ground once you open the chute. And by doing this, you can essentially keep yourself in midair forever, especially if you have auto reload on, depending on where it is you jump, of course, but conceivably, you could stay in midair forever doing that trick. One of the things I did learn about using the base jumper too is don't really use it that often. One thing that Star pointed out in his base jumper video a while ago is that I had to watch the video a second time to actually get this point, is that you don't use the base jumper all the time. That's the main point here. Don't use the base jumper 24/7. You only use it when you desperately need to, or if it's just simply convenient and there are no enemies around. One of the most important things is being able to negate fall damage whatsoever, so you can use the base jumper at the very end of your fall to not only throw some people off who might be trying to kill you, but also to simply just avoid that unnecessary fall damage, because what you used to have to do was fire a rocket with the rocket jumper to basically make the game think that you're doing another jump, but at the same time, it does absolutely zero damage, so it was a lot more convenient. But I think the attribute that everyone extremely loves about the base jumper is being able to correct your fall at the last second. And as I mentioned, it's a great way to negate fall damage completely. But what's most important about using it in this loadout, in conjunction with the Market Gardener of course, is being able to land that crit, which is of course why it's pretty much an extremely abusive item. What you really want to use the floating technique for is being able to hit somebody at the very last second, as I just did with that scout right there. Now that was pretty lucky because that scout unfortunately did not have much of a place to run to. He kind of backed up into a fence, and unfortunately there's an invisible wall there above that fence, so he could not jump above it. Not only when you trap enemies, but just in general when you're trying to track enemies who may have some of the more unpredictable movement, then it becomes just a hell of a lot easier landing that crit. Especially when you're trying to go into a doorway. A lot of people think that they're safe indoors if they just enter a specific building or anything of that sort. Not so much. If you just have the timing right, not only just the timing, but you're able to enter that doorway at the same time, you can land that crit, and they won't have any time to react to it whatsoever. Maybe sure they will if they're faster than you, quite possibly, but apart from that, they'll probably least expect it. Especially if they're trying to back up and fire at you at the same time, although That also depends on what the size of the doorway you're trying to follow them in is. And lastly, just test your skills on the occasion. A couple of times during these clips, you'll probably notice that I don't even bother using the parachute at times. Whether it's for the sake of my timing against an unsuspecting player, or even in a situation where using the base jumper is conceivable, on the occasion, you should just try to land a crit without even using the chute at all. This is a very convenient way of practicing your timing, because you don't even need to bother taking the base jumper off. And if eventually you're feeling confident enough, you can take the base jumper off entirely and switch to something that's more or less practical, like a shotgun or the gunboats. I've yet to seriously try this out, but on occasion while using the rocket launcher, the gunboats, and the market gardener, I've managed to score a couple of gardener crits thanks to my general experience with jumping and timing with the market gardener in general. And let me just go after the scout right now, crit him right in front of the spawn door, no health for you. I don't really care if I die right here. I got the guy. That's all that matters. Ultimately, what the base jumper boils down to is your personal preferences when you rocket jump. If you want to seriously get into market gardening using this loadout, then yes, I would definitely recommend that you equip the base jumper. That is, not before you learn the basics of rocket jumping. I mean, obviously there are a bunch of things that you need to know about rocket jumping, such as how you need to use the strafing keys to use most of your movement. You also use a bit of the mouse, because that's apparently how the source engine works, don't ask me why. And you also have to stay crouched, so that way not only you can do continuous, consistent jumps, but you can also land that critical market garden hit before even touching the ground, because chances are if you aren't crouching, then it won't be a crit, because the game will count you landing on the ground first, and that's very unfortunate. And there are going to be obstacles, of course. Obviously, rocket jumping and using this loadout, notably, is not the easiest thing in the world when you have a lot of different things, such as an entire baseball league of scouts or mini-sentry engineers on the battlefield. Basically, rocket jumping and market gardening is all about what the current situation is. And most of the time, the situation is pretty well composed of a lot of good classes that are worthy targets of market gardening. In fact, one thing that is noteworthy is that snipers. If there is a sniper that's aware of you, I've seen a lot of snipers get seriously aggressive when it comes to melee fights. And don't be surprised if you get killed by snipers, because their melee weapons just seem to have a very huge tendency to crit, and it might be best that you avoid them if they are aware of your presence, but obviously snipers are some of your prime targets if you want to get rid of any pests on the battlefield. In general, your presence alone on the battlefield can be fairly important to your team, so that way, as long as you are distracting the enemies while you're doing all those stupid rocket jumping shenanigans, then technically you are making sort of a contribution, and I guess that's kind of noteworthy. And now that this commentary is over, we can move on to the final portion of unboxing this week. And finally, we have reached the final crate of our destination on the crate train. Crate number 76. So far, you can see we have unboxed a galvanized gibbous, a specialized killstreak extinguisher kit, a strange knife, and a golf shirt for the scout. And let's not waste any more time, let's open up this final crate. Maybe I could actually select the right thing this time. Crate number 76. Let us see what we get. Maybe it will be unusual. Maybe it will be something grand and glorious. Or maybe it will just be a strange eviction note. That was a bit of an anticlimactic final unboxing, but there you have it. Strange eviction notice. So, these are the 5 items that I will be giving away in the giveaway. That's why it's called a giveaway, right? And the way this giveaway is going to work, I figure this is very important to explain. Anyone who wishes to enter this giveaway has to join my Steam group. There will be a special discussion where you can post 1 comment to submit. You can submit 1 comment in order to enter the giveaway. Any duplicate comments will be deleted by me, and you don't have to, like, pay anything. You don't have to pay me metal or anything like that. This is a completely free giveaway. Just join the Steam group, get into the discussion, and then eventually I will decide who the winners shall be by random chance. Until then, thank you guys very much for watching. Have a great day or evening. Thank you very much for 400 subscribers once again. I cannot stress this enough. And I guess I will see you in the next video.
control point is being contested.